First thing I want to point out is some of the little features I put on here. A grab rail as soon as we get going inside, which I'm surprised how much I use this thing getting in and out of the van. So we got some nice wood trim here, grab rail on here, and on the seats here, that's just some sheepskin seat covers we have on here temporarily to keep the seats protected while they're in here. So here we have 2 swivel seats that we got in the RV package when I ordered this van. So it really opens up the room to this dining / kitchen area. Here's what I designed for the refrigerator area. We have a locked counter here. We have a Dometic 12-volt refrigerator that you can easily lift out of here, take into the house with you or the hotel, wherever you're going, load it up, keep it in there, bring it out here, plug it in, and she's good to go. And for the other items, use a Yeti cooler in here, which is great for the stuff that you want slush around in some ice and to be ice cold.
Yes, it is snowing.
Yes, it is snowing, our first snow of the season. Here is the jump seat that we installed that I absolutely love because I still have a lot of room here, and we can drop this down, bring this up, and there's room for 2 adults, children. It straps in for car seats, although I wouldn't want to take a road trip and be an adult and sit in this thing very long. But I mean, it is doable, and we do find that we kind of use it for lounging. And when we're traveling, it's really nice because I can actually set some luggage up here, some things we want. We can store some stuff down here. Makes it really convenient to get in and out of the refrigerator, pull stuff out. And another thing I love about this Dometic is its actual extra counter space up here when we're preparing stuff in the kitchen. What I chose to do for lighting in here was this indirect backlighting, and I really love it. It's all dimmable LEDs. We've got a switch there and a switch back here for the lights. And there's a couple reasons why I did that. I didn't want the typical van build where people just put a solid sheet of plywood or whatever on here and just put a few puck lights. For a couple reasons. One, I think this is a very aesthetically pleasing look to it. And 2, I want to give it some depth as much as I can, because when you start boxing in a van with solid sheets up here and solid sheets on the wall, next thing you know you're inside of a box, and it feels like a box. And this gives it a lot more depth and space and artistic or architectural design, if you will, and it gives it a really nice feel, almost like a sailboat cabin or something like that. Also, what it does is it backlights all of the cabinetry. All the cabinets are on self-closing hinges that lock themselves, so you don't actually need a lock on them. So they close by themselves, and then when they're closed, they stay that way. We've got counter space up here. Also up here we have a Dometic, no, I'm sorry, it's not a Dometic, it's a Fresh Air 12-volt evaporative cooling system for the van. And then we've got the Max fan up here for any ventilation that we may need. This is very efficient when it comes to wattage and usage, but it doesn't cool like an AC unit, but it also doesn't require 30 amps of power either. And I have found, unless you're in a really southern humid climate, it adequately worked for us to take the heat off, to put a little cool air in, and you can run the thing all night long and not drain the batteries. Here's what we chose to use for the sink. Got a cutting table there, got a dish strainer there, got a very nice deep, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, it's like kind of an onyx, and it's got a sprayer on it. I have a separate power switch right there for the pump, so just in case something happens, the pump wouldn't run if it sprung a leak somewhere. So you actually have to power it on, power it off, like that. So that works real nice for the sink area. And I've got a mirrored backsplash on there that gives an extra sense of depth in here, especially when you're sitting down at the benches. It just feels you can look out there and reflect and look out the window, and it gives a nice sense of depth in there. Also, all of my cabinets are lit. As soon as you turn on or open the doors, they're backlit. So what I have for storage in here, if you can get around and take a look at this, I have 3 5-gallon cans that I use for water storage. 2 for fresh water, 1 for gray water. These are BPA free containers, and what I love about it, a couple of things. One, is designed this way so I can take them out, rinse them out, clean them out, and put fresh water in there. I could go into any grocery store anywhere on the road, put fresh water in it, but my main concern is I didn't want holding tanks in there that would freeze, because we have Minnesota weather. And I don't want to have water sloshing in there for a long time, so I can easily take these out, clean them, put them back in, and I find that I have plenty of water for me. And all the drawers are self-closers. We got a lot of space in here. I've got dimmable counter lights here and reading lights here, and I have 110 outlets, USB outlets all over the front here. So over here's where I actually have a closet, some more cooking stuff. I put the induction cooktop up here. Just bring it down. We've got 110 outlets here. I've got USB ports here. I've got 12 volts here. And I've got room for more if we need it. We've got all my gauges here for alarms for gas. And I've got this for all the batteries, for all the Victron stuff, and the battery charger, the controllers. All my cabinets are backlit again, which is so nice to just be able to pop open a cabinet and have that light in there for storage. I built in a little room here for just jars for dry goods when we're traveling. Works really nice for that. And down here is where we have the emergency camping toilet. So I have used over the years, and I found it works really well. You just have a bucket that is sealed with cat litter in it, and a stool if you need it, and it is amazingly efficient and comfortable and usable. And you can use that, screw the top back on there, give it a couple shakes, and store that away, and you can store that for weeks without having to change it out until you get in an appropriate place to do so. Back here I've designed some shelving over these windows, and I use it for our pantiers for our bicycle, but you could use it for anything. But it makes some real nice storage here. I've also got shades on all the windows that either do a whiteout, or if you're camping, they do a total blackout. So I want to show you this area right here. Underneath is where all the electronics are, and you can come over here and get a look inside there. And I've got room for tools here. So again, all the cabinets are lit up. I've got room for tools here. I've got a breaker panel up front. I have my 2 lithium batteries here with room for another if we want. There's room to do this whole system with an extra battery, which will give you about 340 watts. I've got the inverter. You can get kind of a closer look at some of the wiring in here. The inverter, the DC chargers, the solar chargers, all the breakers. Everything is really nice and clean and well done in here. This is all from Light Harvest Solar, and they put the whole package together for me for this van, for this install. So everything's really easy to get to, really easy to maintain. As you can see, these benches are made to where they can be taken out easily. All my components are made with 80/20 aluminum, so they're very lightweight, very serviceable. Any of the components in this van can be taken apart with ease and serviced if need be. So also in this sleeping area back here, I put in storage up here in these panels. And the reason this was designed, again, kind of like the ceiling, I wanted to use every inch of space available to have this van feel roomier and feel less boxed in. So there's no smooth walls. Most people on a van build will typically do a panel all the way down, because it's the easiest way to build, but it just doesn't look good and it doesn't have a good sense of space. And so I used every possible cavity in the van to put storage in. These bump out to where when you make the bed, there's actually 6 foot 2 inches of sleeping space here. I've got Gimbal fans here to help cool. We've got the fresh air conditioning system. Got hooks. Got a little bit of a pantry up here. I've got some more storage going. The max fan. And as you can see, once you get in here, we've got plenty of space for entertaining and numerous adults. Like I said, I can get 6 adults back here. I can get a couple people in the chair here and a couple here. So the van is so functional when it comes to entertaining adventure vans. We can camp in it, sleep in it, and it doesn't feel like it's a one-use type of a van for us. So when we close the door, I've got nice wood paneling on the lowers, got grab bars up here. We have storage shelf up above here. I've got a WeBoost system wired up on the roof with the solar panels. And again, all of our windows are honeycombed and power value, so you can black out all the curtains there. I've also got covers for the front and side windows if needed that fit those. So it's very private when you need it to be, very cozy, very warm, and quickly just moves up to where you don't have to mess with storing all these window coverings, which can be a real pain in the rear when you're traveling and trying to find a place to put everything. Also, underneath this bench is where I have the Rexon hot air furnace. It blows out right between here, and if you can see here, I've got storage down under here. I've got storage down under here, and this is where the heater is underneath. So all of these open up, and I've got a lagoon table that is movable here. The thing I love about this is not only can you take the whole thing out, but you can just shove it out of the way and you can get in and out of the trailer. Now if you've noticed, I've got runners down on the carpet just to keep the carpet pristine for the buyer. And then I'll break it down and show you how the bed looks. These just come right off here and make a bed all the way across. So literally just pop the cushions off, get one of these bench seats out of the way, and everything else is made to fit right in here. Go right back on. Once everything is down and snugged in, there's actually 6'2" worth of sleeping room in here. And this is kind of how we like to travel when we're on the road. We can put some luggage if we want to underneath here. We can set it back here, and it's great for coming back and laying down and taking a nap. I'm 5'10", and my feet and my head aren't touching. So there's 6'2" worth of room right there. And there's plenty of room for 2 people to sleep back here, hang out, take a nap. You don't have to leave this down all the time, but it's a nice option when you're traveling. And it's so easy to pop it right back up. It takes no time at all, and all the parts are right there. Done deal. cushions are interchangeable. You can put them wherever you like. Either the smooth side for easy cleaning or the cloth side for a little more comfort. And there you go. Another feature I built in this lower part here is some slide outs to increase space for camping and cooking. And what that does is it gives us room to pull out a slide out here. Got a tablecloth if you want a tablecloth on it. So I've got room to set up camp stove, pot, anything I want to here while we're picnicking, if anybody's inside. So this makes a really nice space for that. I've got one on each side. So I've also got an extra outside table that we can set up if we choose to. But another function you can do with this is actually use it as deck space. These are 500-pound capacity. You can literally stand on them, walk on them, get it locked in. You can use it for a solar shower to where you're not down on the dirt if you want to take a shower. Like I said, you can use it for deck space. You can stand up here, increase this room, put a couple chairs on there if you like. But I thought it just gave a lot more extra function for this back area. And I really like not having to bring out a table and set it up to do a little bit of cooking, anything like that. So you can just pop that right back in there. Have them on each side. And just use it for storage and for anything else you want to. If you wanted to slide those out and use it for some more storage, you can certainly do that. But I really like having them there. It just makes it that much more functional. Again, this is extra storage here. This is where the heater draws its air and kicks out into that. This is where I have some storage for some tools, drills, some chocks, things like that. Set up with a fire extinguisher. Again, these are the build outs for the windows, which I really like because it gives you something to hold on to close the doors from the inside. It makes it feel really cozy. We've got a 110 outlet on this side right here. I've got 110 and USB ports inside. And we are all set up. Back of the van here, I made a little bit of a ladder here. Instead of a mounted ladder rack that goes up to the safari rack, which I didn't want to have bumping out to the side of the van, we just decided to go with an extendable ladder, which works fantastic for us because I can move it anywhere I want to in the van and get access very easily to whatever area I want. So I've got the solar panels up here. I've got a mesh rack up on the front side of the flatline safari rack. I've got a FEMA awning that slides all the way out here. And I've got another awning that slides out of the back here. And I've got some pictures I'll show you of that. But this, I absolutely love the usefulness of this ladder versus one that somebody mounts on the side of their van. It's way more functional and easy to move around. There was a lot of thought that went into the van that we purchased here, and let me share some of that with you. For one, a lot of the really cool looking vans, some of them are 4-wheel drive, which from my point of view, I've lived and I've owned 4-wheel drives and I've been 4-wheeling before, and the last thing I would ever want to do is go 4-wheel driving in a van with the stuff up in the cabinets, the stuff shaking around. I don't also want 6 more inches of height in the van because this will catch some wind when you're driving down the road. And the typical 4-wheel drives, they may look cool, but that's another 6 inches up in the air to rock and roll and get going in the wind. However, this van is all-wheel drive, which is all I really wanted, to where I could get unstuck if I wanted to, drive in some inclement weather. It's got all-wheel drive, it's got a turbocharger, it's got 10-speed transmission, it's got a big V6 EcoBoost. It's got everything I wanted in a van. I didn't want the expense of a Sprinter and the diesel and the cost of that. I didn't really care for the Ram, just for the fact that they don't have all-wheel drive, and I don't like the body style of it. And this one is just really sleek. It's got good style to it, and you can find a Ford dealership anywhere in any little town across the USA. Everywhere I go, there's either a John Deere place or a Ford dealership in every little bitty small town. So this is by far my favorite van of choice for doing a van build for an adventure type thing. If I wanted to live in it full time, I'd buy an RV. Something big enough to feel roomy enough, but this works for everything we have that we want to do. I can use it as a daily driver. I can park it anywhere. It's a shorter wheelbase. My back end doesn't stick out if I nose in park anywhere. And we can load it up with enough stuff to get on the road and have groceries where we don't have to stop and eat every place. We can do all our own thing and find a little park along the way. It's just perfect.